talked about earlier, having a medical form. If you haven't turned it in, it's really important that you do turn it in. Here's why. Each group, so I said we have 4 groups, right? Each group has at least three people or 3 roles that are leaders attached to that. So there is a guide who is trained to be in the wilderness, and as any kind of eventuality happens in the wilderness, to make sure we're all safe. There's a person who is a medic who has medical training to respond to any kind of medical issues that come up. So far, I mean, the most serious medical thing that we've had is somebody like getting a bad cut on their foot. They cut on the bottom of their foot when they went into the lake, you know, that sort of thing. And like blisters, but we'll talk about that later. Those aren't, you know, super serious, but they can be. And so, but we're prepared for anything. And in fact, we have an agreement. We have provision for if we ever needed to medically, you know, evacuate by helicopter or whatever, we can do that as well. So we have an emergency plan in place for that. So our number one priority in this process is your safety and your well-being and all that. And so we have these things in place. Now, why that medical thing is important is because if there are some medical issues, medication or allergies or things like that, really important for us to know that. And also, if there's something that comes up between now and when you come back, the sooner you tell us, the better. Okay, so there are some occasions that something happens during the summer, or there's some medical condition that that for whatever reason just wouldn't be good for you to go on Imprint, and that's fine. We kind of talk that through, and of course, like I said, we want to make sure that you know, your safety is the main thing. But there are sometimes sometimes we don't. There's something we don't find out about until like you show up to pack. And if we would have known about it earlier, we could have taken precautions to mitigate it and to make sure it was all right. But because they didn't say it, it's like, sorry, we can't have you go. And they really wanted to go. It wasn't like they were trying to cop out or anything. They really wanted to go, but because of the situation, we just didn't feel like medically we could allow them to go because we didn't have precautions to do it. So anyway, so.
And Stu, just like, so the resident directors in the summer, the way that their contract works, that's their time off in the summer, so they'll be doing summer travel. So the person that you need to contact about Imprint would be me, and you can always CC Stu. So if you contact me over the summer at any point, I always ensure that the resident directors will be notified so that when they start back on contract, that information would be shared to them. So sometimes people email their RDs, but their RDs may be traveling and not have access to emails as well. So I'm your contact person should anything change or anything should happen. Okay.
Okay. Any questions about what I've said so far? Yes.
Do we meet at Westmont and then go on Imprint?
Yes. So the way this works is on Wednesday. I don't know the exact date.
It's August 10th.
August 10th. It's in here. So August 10th. You need to be on campus no later than 2 p.m. Wednesday, August 10th. And we will all meet in the Page NPR, and you'll be bringing your gear with you and packing right then. We pack up your backpack that you're going to take on the trip with you and put it in the van. And then we, well, actually, because, can I say this? We decided this, right?
I did hear what you're talking about. Yes, tell me.
Yes. Okay, all right. So because this is, normally what happens is you pack up and then you go off and maybe you have dinner with your staff or whatever. Because this is the 10-year anniversary of Imprint, we are actually all going to have dinner together. And we're going to have some past guides, and we're going to have some nice slideshows and other things like that. So we'll be able to kind of see that. So anyway, so it should be fun. It should be a fun time. We have a little celebration for the 10th year, so you guys get to be a part of that celebration. But anyway, the point is, show up at 2 o'clock. You'll have your stuff. You want to have it packed and ready to go, and then what'll happen is the next morning. Then, so Thursday morning, we meet at 5 or 5:30 in the morning, early morning, and we drive up. We drive up to a campsite which is right near the trailhead. So the first night we actually camp we camp in our groups at a kind of campsite. It's a rustic campsite. There aren't flush toilets, but there are like outhouse kind of toilets there. And that'll be the first night, kind of ease into it. And then the next morning we head off to the trailheads. We start hiking. We are out for 3 nights. So then we come back on that Monday. Not back to Westmont, but we come back off the trailhead, and then we'll have we'll all be together again at a campsite for Monday night, where we'll kind of debrief the experience. And then Tuesday morning, we get back in the vehicles and drive to Westmont, and then we typically get here about noon. So we'll be back for lunchtime. So.
And that last night, there are flush toilets and showers.
Yes, there are. That last night, yes, there are. So.
And sometimes you just prefer the wilderness.
Yeah.
some say.
Don't want to be driving back with at least, yeah. So anyway,
And
go ahead.
in terms of the team dynamic, I know Stu said there's 4 and it's split up. Just FYI, you'll be at least with one other person from your staff team on your Imprint team. So it's not totally random. There is some strategy in terms of getting to know your
Which means the entire Ocean View staff will be on the same
together.
Yes. So, okay. All right, so let's talk about some gear basics. So there are, Westmont provides the camping gear that you're going to need, okay? So all the group gear we provide, so for instance, all the pots and pans and stoves and, you know, all that kind of stuff, that nice big tarp is an example of a big tarp. But there's some personal things that we supply for you as well. So, as an example, everyone gets a backpack. This is one example of a backpack. There's a few different kinds, but everyone gets a little small tarp, which I'm not gonna. It's like a 5x7 tarp that you can sleep on with a pad that rolls out that you can sleep on as well. And then everyone gets a sleeping bag here. I won't pull it out, but it's a sleeping bag. Everyone gets a clean liner for their sleeping bag.
Very important.
So, it was dirty in there. It was clean. Sorry, Shannon. This backpack didn't get cleaned out. I think I just pulled it from the return.
Good thing we
But
have laundry.
it is clean. They all go through laundry. Trust me on that. And then everyone gets 2 water bottles as well.
Hydrate or die.
Yes, yeah. And so that's the group gear. Now, one of the things that people ask sometimes is, hey, if I've already got my own stuff, can I bring it? And the answer is no. So when it comes to the things I just showed, what we want to do is just create kind of an equalizer for everyone in the group. So that's why we provide the gear for you. It's the same gear. If for some, the only exception that I would say to that is if you have back issues or things like that, and you have a special like sleeping pad or something like that, then we can talk about it. Sometimes we would allow people to do that. But other than that, we want you to use Westmont's gear for that sort of thing. Okay. So in terms of your own gear, though, that you would bring, it's mostly your own personal items, okay? Who can tell me what the most important personal item you can bring with you is?
Underwear.
No? I heard it over here somewhere. Shoes? Shoes, yes. Okay, so that's the most important. Why is that the most important? Juan, I think you said that. Why are shoes the most important?
Well, it's kind of going to carry, your feet are going to carry you up.
Let's hope so. Let's hope so. Yes, your feet are going to carry you. And so, but say more about that. Why would it be important then to take care of your feet if they're going to carry you up the hill?
Yeah, well, I mean, you don't want blisters on your feet. You don't want to be
Right.
injured because then you can't continue up.
Right. It's really, so usually I have a PowerPoint that I showed at this time, but somehow it got corrupted file or whatever, I couldn't show it. But I have pictures of like the progression of a blister, and you're probably thankful that you didn't see it because it's not pretty. It's not pretty, and it starts with a little red spot, then to another blister, then to, we had one person in my group, this is maybe the second or third year, a person who really literally had blisters all over their feet. My wife was the medic and like we were wrapping her foot because it was so bad, and eventually it was like better for her to like hike in Tevas, although I wouldn't recommend it, because and here's the reason why. Her shoes were 2 sizes too small. And so she borrowed somebody's shoes. We found this out 2 days into the, like, what is going on? Why are they getting blisters so bad? And so the point is this, we don't want, I should have said this before, we don't want you to have to feel like you need to spend a lot of money to go on Imprint. That's not the point. We don't want you to. You shouldn't. And so, but you do need shoes that fit well and shoes that are sturdy. And my guess is that most of you already have that. If you don't, and if you have the resources to buy a pair of shoes, you can get shoes that fit that bill. Really, you don't have to pay a lot of money for those. You can get shoes that are probably $50 or less could fill that role. If you do get new shoes, you want to get them as soon as you can, so that you have time to wear them during the summer, so that they kind of break in. In the old days, the hiking boots that you'd get were like so hard, like they were really bad. Nowadays, there's the materials. That's not as a big a deal, because, but it's still good to get it worn in so it's comfortable when you go. So if you're planning on at all thinking about getting shoes because you think, wow, the only shoes I have a hole in them or whatever, I would consider that. And if you can't afford it, ask around, find somebody who maybe has the same shoe size that's willing to let you borrow it or something like that, and we can help out and we can figure that out for you. If you are going to go buy shoes, here's one little tip: buy them in the afternoon. Why do you think I'd say that? Your feet swell. Yeah, your feet swell in the afternoon as you're on your feet more. And that mimics kind of the way you'll be when you're hiking and stuff. So if you buy them in the morning, believe it or not, your foot is actually a little smaller. So if you get them nice and snug in the morning, in the afternoon, or when you're hiking up in the mountains, they'll actually be a little bit larger, and then that'll be a problem for you. So try to buy them in the afternoon. Okay, any questions about shoes? Yes?
What kind of shoes should we do?
So I'd recommend either just kind of hiking shoes, and it talks more in either hiking shoes, or you could do like trail runner shoes, something that has a nice sturdy sole to it and good support. So this is a little bit of a personal preference thing. If you have weak ankles, then you should get high tops, whatever you're wearing, high tops. Some people wear tennis shoes. I wouldn't recommend just regular running shoes or whatever, just because depending on which, most of the trails are a little rocky. And so you want something on the bottom of your foot that, when you hit that, whatever, jagged rock or whatever, it's not going to like hurt or fatigue your foot. So that's the reason why. People make it in running shoes, that, whatever, but they get beat up a lot, and they're not, your feet get more fatigued. So yeah, good question.
Are you guys okay with us, like, if we are comfortable doing long hiking in, like, chacos? Are you okay, or you prefer us to have covering shoes?
If whatever you're comfortable in.
Okay.
So if you're comfortable and you know that that's going to work for you, if you've had experience doing it or whatever, that's fine. You probably know that your feet get really dirty when they're exposed to the dirt of the trail and everything. So don't expect us to wash your feet for you. But but anyway, so yeah, that's fine.
Stu, I would actually advise
Bringing both?
bringing both, and only because we've had some people ask, and the guides that are there have often, if they know the trail that we're about to go on, would say, we feel very uncomfortable with you wearing these, because
true.
they want your foot to be protected and covered.
That's true.
Because some trails may allow for that, but other trails may have different types of landscape, and so
Has scree or little.
yeah, and so
Yeah.
I would prefer, my recommendation would be that you have a full foot covering,
Okay.
because I think most of the guides that are leading, I've heard them say that.
That's true. So you have the option, depending on the
Alright.
trail. So that's good. Yeah. Okay, so what we're going to do now is, because we're going to talk about that on the over, yeah. Okay, so we're going to go over kind of some gear basics, and what we're going to do is we actually have two different examples here that we're going to go through quickly. Liz and Annie brought different kind of examples they're going to show you, just to give you an idea of the different range or what they might look like. And they'll be up here afterward as well, so if you want to come up afterward and take a look at it and rub your hands on it and see how rough or soft it is or whatever,
Great models,
Yeah.
models.
Okay,
We're not actually gonna model it for you.
so I'm gonna, so if you go to 2.4, it has the clothing and equipment list there. So, and there's more information there about the other thing I forgot to tell you is you also get a whistle for safety. Yes. So that's good. And it has more stuff about that. You also get a trail journal that will give you. Okay, so here we go. So if you go down to where it says for the day, we start with, I don't know if you guys brought this, underwear and sports bra. Did you guys bring it?
We sure did.
Okay.
Now,
I wouldn't recommend a sports bra for the guys, but if you want to, you can.
now, before you feel scandalized, these have not been worn. You're like, ew, Liz brought her dirty underwear. But this is ex officio underwear, which is like quick dry. It tends to have less smell in it, which is important when you're hiking. So it's worth getting potentially quick dry, just as a thought.
Just to